So good day again to everyone. We are already in our module number 7, which is entitled Legal, Ethical, and Societal Issues in Media and Information. So now let's talk about the intellectual property. So we all know that human beings are gifted when it comes to ideas. So nakikita rin naman natin yan sa sarili nating country. So for example, there are some Filipinos wherein they have their own inventions. Pero, since we do not have a sufficient fund, mas pinipili na lang nila na ibenta sa ibang country yung invention na ginawa nila. So, according to the World Intellectual Property Organization, when we say intellectual property, it refers to the creation of the mind. Ano yung creation of the mind na tinutukoy dito? Yung mga intangible assets. So when we say intangible assets, these are the asset which is not physically in nature. So example na lang natin, IC inventions, literary, artistic works, designs and symbols, names and images used in commerce or sa industry. So as we observe, ito yung mga asset na hindi natin nahawakan pero alam nating nag-i-exist. So, ano nga ba yung benefit ni intellectual property? So, through intellectual property, your creation is safe because nobody can copy or reuse your work without your permission as an owner. So, ito lang naman din yung gusto natin, 'di ba? Kapag may ginawa tayong isang bagay, kailangan hindi siya madaling kopyahin ng ibang tao. For example na lang, sa mga vlogger. For sure naman, kung ikaw ay sikat na vlogger, ayaw mo din naman na i-copy ng ibang tao yung ginawa mo na content. So, ano pa, it will also encourage us to distribute and share the information instead of keeping it confidentially. So, we will also have a legal defense to anyone who will copy or reuse our creation. Pwedeng-pwede tayong magsampa ng kaso if someone steal your creation. So a while ago, we have already discussed the definition of intellectual property. So sino nga ba yung nangangalaga ng rights natin sa ating intellectual property? So meron tayong tinatawag na World Intellectual Property Organization na kilala din natin siya bilang WIPO. So what is WIPO? So pag sinabi nating World Intellectual Property Organization, they are the global forum for intellectual property, services, policy, information, and cooperation. So they are also the one who is responsible for the promotion and protection of intellectual property throughout the world. So si World Intellectual Property Organization, they are the one who promotes and protects our intellectual property. So, anong ginagawa ni WIPO? So, si WIPO, nakikipag-cooperate siya sa iba't ibang nation, sa iba't ibang bansa, para mas maganda yung implementation ng rules and regulations. So, sila rin yung nagpo-provide ng intellectual property services, including those information. So now, let's talk about the types of intellectual property. So let us discuss our first type of intellectual property right, which is known as the copyright. So pag sinabi natin copyright, the rights that creators have over their literary and artistic works. So ikaw, as a creator, as an original creator, pwedeng-pwede mong bigyan ng access or i-authorize yung isang tao na gamitin yung work na ginawa mo. So, through the use of copyright, the owner will feel secured about his or her work. So, ang pinaka-purpose natin, bakit may copyright na ginawa is to protect the work of an author. So, it also prevents others from copying, republishing, or distributing your work without your permission as an owner of your work. So, sa madaling salita, pag sinabi natin copyright, it is the right to copy. So, ikaw lang na original creator at yung tao na inauthorize mo na gamitin yung work mo, ang siyang makakagamit lang nun. So, for example na lang, dun sa pag-YouTube natin, kapag once na yung song na pinili mo is may copyright, syempre, hindi ka mamo-monetize. Kaya nga, there are some vloggers wherein pinipili na lang nilang i-cut yung mga songs na inilalagay nila sa video nila para hindi sila makasuhan ng copyright. So, ano nga ba yung pwedeng-pwede nating lagyan ng copyright? Ano yung coverage nito? So, the coverage are books, music, paintings, sculptures, films, computer programs, databases, advertisements, maps, and the technical drawing. So, our second type of intellectual property right is the patent. So, ano nga ba yung tinatawag nating patent? So, when we say patent, it provides the patent owner with the right to decide how or whether the invention can be used by others in exchange for this right. So, si patent owner natin, meron siyang karapatan na mag-decide kung sino lang yung mga taong gagamit ng invention niya. Meron din siyang karapatan na ibenta yun sa ibang tao. Yun nga lang kasi, kapag binenta ni patent owner yung invention niya, kung sino yung bagong bumili ng invention niya, magiging siya na yung bagong owner ng patent. And then once na nag-expire na yung patent natin, the protection ends and the invention enters the public domain wherein the owner is no longer holds exclusive rights to the invention and it becomes available for commercial use by others. So, yung mga tao, pwede na silang gamitin or pwede na nilang gamitin yung invention ni owner. And then, sabi dito, the patent owner makes technical information about the invention. So, si patent owner natin, kailangan niyang i-provide lahat ng information about sa invention niya, yung evaluation, kung ano yung mga materials, and then, marami pa. So, ano yung coverage ni patent? So, exclusive right granted for an invention. So, our third one is the trademark. So, ano nga ba yung trademark? So, when we say trademark, it is a sign capable of distinguishing goods or services of one enterprise from those of other enterprises. So, through the use of trademark, na-identify natin kung ano yung product na ino-offer ng isang business sa iba't ibang business pa na kalaban nito. So, during the ancient period or ancient times, ang ginagamit ng mga tao noon ay yung signature nila to identify their product. So, ano nga ba yung trademark na yan? So, ito yung recognizable sign or design na ginagamit ng isang business para mas makilala pa yung product na ino-offer nila sa ibang tao. So, for example na lang, yung logo ng Starbucks, ng Nike, Adidas, at marami pang iba. So, what are the coverage of trademark? Products sold or services offered by a business entity. So, our number 4 is all about the industrial design. So, ano nga ba yung industrial design? So, it constitutes the ornamental or aesthetic aspect of an article or object. So, pag sinabi nating ornamental, it talks about the artistic. At pag sinabi naman natin aesthetic is the beauty ng isang article or ng isang bagay. So, it is the professional practice of designing products, devices, objects, and services na ginagamit ng maraming tao. So, there are some scenario wherein ang bawat isa sa atin ay masyadong nakafocus sa industrial design kung gaano siya ka-attractive sa paningin natin. So, what are the coverage of industrial design? So, these are the design of an object such as the shape or surface, patterns, lines, or colors. So, our last type of intellectual property is the geographical indication and appellation of origin. So sign used on goods has a specific geographical origin and possess qualities, a reputation or characteristics that are essentially attributable to that place of origin. So, sa product na to na makikita natin, for us to determine kung saan galing yung product na yon, makikita natin sa mismong sealed nung product na binibili natin. So, what are the coverage? The name of the place of origin of goods or product. For example na lang, sa Baguio, sa ibang bansa, sa Indonesia, sa Malaysia. So, sa bawat product na binibili natin, nakalagay doon yung place na pinanggalingan nung product na binili natin. So, let's go back to the copyright. So, when we say copyright, the protection of one's expression, which only becomes tangible and concrete when objects are created as manifestation of these expectations. So, meaning, for us to have this what we call copyright, first, we must convert our ideas into tangible assets. So, imagine nyo na lang, diba? How can someone copy or reuse our work if it will remain as an idea? So, hindi natin pwedeng patunayan sa ibang tao that we are the original owner. So, it does not cover ideas, procedures, methods of operations, or the mathematical concepts. So, the following are the commonly protected by the copyright. So, literary work, computer programs and databases, films, musical compositions and choreographies, artistic works, architecture, advertisement, maps, and technical drawings. So, let us proceed to two types of rights under a copyright law. So, we have two rights na tinutukoy dito. First one is the economic rights and our second one is the moral rights. So, ano nga ba yung tinatawag nating economic rights? So, the rights of an owner or author to be properly compensated financially upon his or her permission for the work to be used by another. So, once we copy or reuse the works of an author or owner, he or she must be properly financially compensated. So, for example na lang, yung mga books that we are using, kailangan syempre, maka-receive din si owner ng payment doon. So, how about the moral rights? So, when we say moral rights, the rights to non-economic interest of the author. So, meaning, si owner natin dito, meron siyang karapatan na every time na gagamitin yung work niya, kailangan may tinatawag tayong right of attribution. Wag nating kakalimutan palagi na i-include yung pangalan ng may-ari ng isang work na ginamit natin. Kailangan i-credit natin yung pangalan niya. So next is the intellectual property law of the Philippines. So kanina we discussed about the WIPO. So, si WIPO, syempre, sa ating sariling country, inassign nila si Philippines to pass a law on intellectual property protection. So, sa bansa din natin, meron ding tagapagpatupad ng intellectual property law para sa protection ng mga inventor natin. So, ano yung batas na yon? Republic Act 8293, which is also known as the Intellectual Property Code of 1997. So, intellectual property rights consist of copyright and related rights, trademarks and service marks, geographic indications, industrial designs, patents, layout designs of integrated circuits, and the protection of undisclosed information. So, we will be discussing the terms related to copyright. So, our first one is the author. So, when we say author, it refers to a natural person who has created the work. So, every one of us can be an author. We can also create our work and then publish it so that the other people can also read those information that we have provided for them. So our second one is the collective work. So when we say collective work, it is a work which has been created by two or more natural persons at the initiative and under the direction of another, with the understanding that it will be disclosed by the latter under his own name, and that contributing natural persons will not be identified. So for example, na lang natin dito sa encyclopedia, newspapers, magazine, and scholarly journal. So pili tayo, which is the encyclopedia. So for example, isa akong author ng encyclopedia, and then may mga iba't iba ring tao wherein they also provided some information na pwedeng i-include kay encyclopedia. So ako, nakipag-cooperate ako with them, and then lahat ng mga information na sinulat nila is i-combine nila doon sa ginawa ko, and then magdedesisyon kami na iisang tao lang yung magpapublish ng encyclopedia, and then hindi i-include doon yung mga pangalan ng iba't ibang tao na pinanggalingan ng information. So, sino lang ang nakalagay doon? Yung tao or yung natural or legal person who owns the copyright in the work as a whole. So, third one is communication to the public or communicate to the public. So, the making of a work available to the public by wire or wireless means in such a way that members of the public may use these works from a place and time individually chosen by them. So, itong work na to, pwedeng-pwede na natin siyang i-access anytime, and then kahit nasaang lugar pa tayo. Kasi nga, naka-public yung work na yan. Pwedeng-pwedeng basahin, pwedeng-pwedeng ma-access ng kahit na sinong tao. So our number 4 is the public lending. So it is the transfer of possession of the original or a copy of a work or sound recording for a limited period for non-profit purposes by an institution, the services of which are available to the public, such as the public library or the archive. So for example na lang, I am an author and then I've published some books. So anong gagawin ko? Si government, makikipag-cooperate siya sa akin, bibilhin niya yung libro ko nang sa ganon, ma-provide niya sa maraming tao. So for example na lang, yung mga ginagamit na books ng mga estudyante nowadays, kung mapapansin nyo, we have the what we call public library. So, syempre, si government, binili niya yung libro na yon kay author nang sa ganun, maipahiram niya sa publiko. So, our number 5 is all about the public performance. So, sa madaling salita, ito yung kadalasang naobserbahan natin na nangyayari sa ibang bansa, especially sa South Korea, wherein nakakakita tayo ng iba't ibang performances sa streets or sa another public area. So, for example na lang, yung mga nagigitara, mga kumakanta, nag-acting, sumasayaw, and then iba't iba pang public performance. So, our number 6 is all about the published works. So, published works are works with the consent of the authors and made available to the public by wire or wireless means. So, with the consent of the authors wherein, before na ipahiram yan sa publiko, kinakailangan muna na alam ni author. So, meaning, since na-publish na yung mga works na gawa ng isang author, then pwede na natin siyang basahin anytime nagugustuhin natin kahit nasaan pa tayo. For example na lang, bukod sa library, makikita din natin to sa coffee shop wherein pwede tayong humiram ng books sa kanila habang nagko-coffee tayo. So, number 7 is the rental. So when we say rental, the transfer of the possession of the original or a copy of work or a sound recording for a limited period of time for the profit-making purposes. Kanina kasi, yung public lending wherein we can borrow some works ng author without paying. Unlike dito kay rental, na kapag hihiram tayo ng isang bagay na galing kay author, we must pay for it. Example na lang yung mga CD noon. Diba? Sa panahon noon, pag ang tao gustong manood ng movie, pupunta sila sa isang place wherein nagbebenta ng mga CD and then magbabayad sila. Tapos, may limitation wherein they can use those CD. Once na yung deadline nila is ganito, kailangan ibigay na rin nila yung CD na hiniram nila. So, number 8 naman natin is the reproduction. So, when we say reproduction, it is the making of one or more copies of a work or a sound recording in any manner or form. So, dito, kay reproduction, kumbaga, for example na lang yung encyclopedia, hindi na lang one book yung pwedeng-pwede nating gamitin na resources. We can also publish another encyclopedia nang sa ganon, mas maraming tao yung makakagamit nito. Another thing, hindi lang naman siya sa mga printed materials, pwede rin yung sound recording. 9 is the work of applied art. So when we say work of applied art, an artistic creation with utilitarian functions or incorporated in a useful articles, whether made by hand or produced on an industrial scale. So ano nga ba yung nakapaloob kay applied art? These are the industrial design, architecture, ceramic art, automotive design, fashion design, calligraphy, interior design, and the graphic design. So, ito ay tumutukoy sa mga aesthetic creation or yung pagiging creative ng isang tao. So, base dito sa picture, makikita naman natin kung ano yung different types of the applied art. So, may mga iba't ibang drawing, may iba't ibang painting, which is napaka-colorful. So, our last is the work of the government of the Philippines. So, it is a work created by an officer or employee of the Philippine government or any of its subdivisions and instrumentalities, including government-owned or controlled corporations, as a part of his regularly prescribed official duties. So, ano nga ba yung mga examples niyan? CDTI, DI, LG, DepEd, and then iba't iba pang works of the government of the Philippines. So let's talk about the copyright protected works. So under Philippine copyright, both original works and derivative works are protected. So pag sinabi kasi nating derivative works, these are the work which is derived from one or more already existing works. So hindi na siya katulad ni original works, nagkaroon na siya ng pagbabago. So ano nga ba yung example ng original works? The Philippine copyright books, pamphlets, articles and other writings, periodicals and newspapers, the lectures, sermons, addresses, letters, dramatic or the dramatico-musical compositions, musical composition, computer programs, works of drawing, original ornamental designs, illustrations, drawings, photographic works, audiovisual works, pictorial illustrations, and other literary, scholarly, scientific works. So, ito naman yung mga sample ng derivative works from dramatizations hanggang dito sa pangalawa, which is the collection of literary, scholarly or artistic works, and compilations of data and other materials, which are original by reason of the section or coordination or arrangement of their contents. So, kanina, we discussed about those works na protected ng copyright. Pero ngayon, i-discuss naman natin kung anong works na hindi protected. So, ito yung mga dalawang works which are not protected under ni copyright. So, first one is the unprotected subject matter. So, meron tayong tatlo dito, which is first any idea, news of the day, hanggang kay any official text of a legislative. So, yung pangalawa naman natin na hindi protected under copyright is the works of the government. So, let's us discuss about the fair use. So, fair use is also known as fair dealing clause. So, pag sinabi nating fair use or fair dealing clause, it limits the rights of holders who are entitled to reproduce works for a limited time period. So, it is also used to guarantee a breathing space for new expression within the confines of copyright law. So, tayo, for example na lang, pwede kong kopyahin yung copyrighted material within a specific period of time lang at kinakailangan in a transformative or certain purposes. So, ano nga ba yung purpose na yan? Such as to comment upon, make a review for teaching or scholarly research, criticize or do a parody about the copyrighted work. So, kay fair use, hindi na natin kinakailangang humingi ng permission from the copyright holder and we don't need to pay them doon sa amount na hinihingi. Bakit? Kasi nga, meron tayong purpose kung bakit natin ginagamit yung copyrighted material na yan. So, examples na lang sa US. Yung commentary nila, search engines, criticism, parody, news reporting, research, and the scholarship. So, let us discuss the expiration of a copyright term. So, once daw na nagkaroon ng expiration when it comes to copyright term, syempre, as an audience, we can have already an unlimited access doon sa work na ating gustong gamitin. Kasi nga, it became part of the public domain. Meaning, kahit ilang beses pa natin gustuhin gamitin ito, pwedeng-pwede na natin siyang gawin. So, let's discuss about the legal sharing using Creative Commons. So, apart from invoking fair use, licenses provided by the Creative Commons, which is also known as a non-profit licensing organizations, can enable the legal sharing and use of work. So, meaning, it allows people to share their copyrighted work to be copied, edited, built upon while retaining the copyright to the original work. So, pag sinabi natin na Creative Commons, they provide free licenses for creators to use when making their work available to the public. So, meaning, safe pa rin yung may mga copyright holder. So, si Creative Commons license also enable the copyright holders to easily change terms of copyright from the default of all rights reserved to some rights reserved. So, ito yung mga kadalasang nakikita natin sa mga pinapanood natin wherein nakalagay all right reserved and then some rights reserved. So, next, licenses are not an alternative to copyright. They work alongside the copyright. So, there are some licenses which allow people to use another person's material to make an adaptations to that work or use it commercially, while others naman hindi nila pinahihintulutan. So, hanggang dito na lang muna yung kalahati ng discussion natin. Thank you for your time. God bless everyone. So, sa next video, itutuloy ko yung continuation ng ating module number 7.